Let's get ready for the Oregon Real Estate Exam with 100 questions covering key state laws, principles, and practices you'll need to know. And keep an eye on the bottom corner. There's something there that could make a big difference in your prep. We'll tell you how to use it in just a minute. Now, let's get started.
Let's start with a quick review of licensing requirements and procedures. Oregon licensing requirements and procedures. What is the minimum age requirement to obtain a real estate license in Oregon? Is it A, 16 years old, B, 18 years old, C, 21 years old, or D, 25 years old? The answer is B, 18 years old. In Oregon, individuals must be at least 18 years old to qualify for a real estate license. This requirement ensures that applicants are legally recognized as adults capable of entering contracts. Which of the following is a prerequisite for taking the Oregon Real Estate Licensing Exam? Is it A, 150 hours of pre-license education, B, 3 years of real estate experience, C, a bachelor's degree in business, or D, passing a background check? The answer is A, 150 hours of pre-license education. Completing 150 hours of pre-license education is required before taking the Oregon Real Estate Exam. This ensures that candidates possess a foundational understanding of real estate principles and laws.
Have you noticed the code in the bottom corner? Next time you're stumped, take that code to birdsy.ai for immediate help and a free study session with Birdsy, your personal AI study partner. Plus, you'll get access to hundreds of additional questions, helping you move closer to passing your exam with confidence. The next time you're feeling unsure or stuck, give it a try.
What is the required pre-licensing education for an aspiring real estate broker in Oregon? Is it A, 90 hours of general real estate education, B, 150 hours of specified real estate courses, C, 120 hours of elective real estate courses, or D, 180 hours of any real estate-related courses? The answer is B, 150 hours of specified real estate courses. In Oregon, aspiring real estate brokers must complete 150 hours of pre-licensing education, which includes specific courses such as real estate law and real estate finance. This education prepares candidates for the licensing exam. What is required to maintain an active real estate license in Oregon? Is it A, a new licensing exam, B, a license renewal fee only, C, a background check, or D, continuing education courses? The answer is D, continuing education courses. Oregon requires licensees to complete continuing education courses to maintain an active license. This ensures that professionals stay updated on industry changes and legal requirements. Continuing education requirements. What is the minimum number of continuing education hours required for an Oregon real estate license renewal? Is it A, 20 hours, B, 30 hours, C, 40 hours, or D, 25 hours? The answer is B, 30 hours. Oregon requires 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years for real estate license renewal. This includes a mandatory law and rule required course. This ensures licensees remain informed about industry changes. Which course is mandatory for all Oregon real estate licensees as part of their continuing education? Is it A, Law and Rule Required Course, B, Advanced Marketing Strategies, C, Real Estate Finance, or D, Property Management Essentials? The answer is A, Law and Rule Required Course. The Law and Rule Required Course is a compulsory part of the continuing education requirements in Oregon, ensuring licensees understand current laws and regulations. How often must Oregon real estate licensees complete their continuing education requirements to maintain their license? Is it A, annually, B, every 3 years, C. Every 2 years. Or D. Every 5 years. The answer is C. Every 2 years. Oregon real estate licensees must complete their continuing education requirements every 2 years. This biennial schedule helps ensure ongoing professional development and adherence to current regulations. What happens if an Oregon real estate licensee does not complete their continuing education requirements before renewal? Is it A. They receive a fine? B. They must take additional courses? C. They receive a warning? Or D. Their license cannot be renewed? The answer is D. Their license cannot be renewed. Failure to complete continuing education requirements results in the inability to renew the license, leading to its expiration. This can halt a licensee's ability to legally practice real estate. Oregon real estate laws and regulations. Oregon-specific fair housing laws. Which protected class is recognized specifically under Oregon's fair housing laws but not under federal law? Is it A. Race, B. Marital status, C. Religion, or D. Disability? The answer is B. Marital status. Oregon's fair housing laws include protection for marital status, which is not covered under federal fair housing laws. This means landlords in Oregon cannot discriminate based on whether someone is married, single, or divorced. What is the consequence for a landlord in Oregon if found guilty of violating fair housing laws? Is it A. Mandatory community service, B. Imprisonment, C. Fines and damages, or D. Revocation of landlord license? The answer is C. Fines and damages. Violating Oregon's fair housing laws can result in penalties, including fines, damages, and attorney fees. These penalties are designed to deter discrimination and ensure compliance with the law. Under Oregon fair housing laws, which of the following actions is considered discriminatory? Is it A. Refusing to rent to families with children, B. Charging higher rent for pets, C. Requiring a credit check for all applicants, or D. Offering discounts to tenants with good credit? The answer is A. Refusing to rent to families with children. Refusing to rent based on familial status is discriminatory under Oregon fair housing laws. This includes denying housing to families with children under 18. Which Oregon-specific protected class under fair housing laws is not recognized at the federal level? Is it A. Color, B. National origin, C. Age, or D. Sexual orientation? The answer is D. Sexual orientation. Sexual orientation is specifically protected under Oregon law, whereas federal laws do not explicitly list it as a protected class, although it may be covered under sex discrimination. In Oregon, what must a landlord do to comply with fair housing laws when advertising a rental property? Is it A. Include income requirements, B. Avoid discriminatory language, C. Specify pet policies, or D. List credit score minimums? The answer is B. Avoid discriminatory language. Landlords must ensure their advertisements do not indicate any preference or limitation based on protected classes. This helps prevent discrimination and promotes equal housing opportunities. Which of the following is a requirement for landlords in Oregon under fair housing laws when considering reasonable accommodation requests? Is it A. Deny all requests for modifications, B. Consider requests unless they cause undue hardship, C. Charge an additional fee for all modifications, or D. Require tenant to provide medical records? The answer is B. Consider requests unless they cause undue hardship. Oregon fair housing laws require landlords to accommodate tenants with disabilities unless it causes undue hardship. This ensures equal housing opportunities for individuals with disabilities. Oregon-specific contract requirements. What is the minimum statutory requirement for a written real estate contract in Oregon? Is it A, only the buyer's identification? B, a verbal agreement between parties? C, identification of parties, property description, purchase price, and signatures? Or D, just the purchase price and property description? The answer is C, identification of parties, property description, purchase price, and signatures. In Oregon, a real estate contract must include essential elements such as the identification of parties, property description, purchase price, and signatures to be legally binding. In Oregon, how long must a real estate broker retain transaction records? Is it A, 3 years, B, 6 years, C, 10 years, or D, 1 year? The answer is B, 6 years. Oregon law mandates that real estate brokers keep transaction records for at least 6 years to ensure compliance with state auditing and legal requirements. Which of the following is not required in an Oregon real estate contract? Is it A, verbal agreement, B, property description, C, signatures of both parties, or D, purchase price? The answer is A, verbal agreement. A verbal agreement is not sufficient in Oregon. All real estate contracts must be in writing to be enforceable. What is required for a real estate broker to legally manage a property in Oregon? Is it A, a verbal agreement with the property owner, B, approval from the Oregon Real Estate Agency, C, a temporary permit from the local government, or D, a written property management agreement? The answer is D, a written property management agreement. Oregon law requires a written property management agreement between the broker and property owner to outline duties, responsibilities, and compensation. Under Oregon law, what must a seller disclose in a real estate transaction? Is it A, only the property's age, B, material defects in the property, C, the previous owner's contact information, or D, the property's market value? The answer is B, material defects in the property. Sellers in Oregon must provide a property disclosure statement detailing known material defects to ensure transparency and protect buyers. In Oregon, which document must be provided to a buyer before signing a real estate contract? Is it A, title insurance policy, B, property disclosure statement, C, home inspection report, or D, appraisal report? The answer is B, property disclosure statement. Oregon law mandates that a property disclosure statement be given to the buyer before contract signing. This ensures transparency regarding the property's condition and any known defects.
If you're finding this helpful, please take a minute to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, useful tips, and complimentary study sessions with Birdsy.
Overview of Oregon real estate statutes. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon Real Estate Agency as defined by the Oregon Real Estate Statutes? Is it A, to set property tax rates, B, to license real estate professionals, C, to manage state-owned real estate, or D, to provide real estate loans? The answer is B, to license real estate professionals. The Oregon Real Estate Agency is responsible for licensing real estate professionals and ensuring compliance with state laws to protect consumers in real estate transactions. Under Oregon real estate law, which of the following is required for a valid property sale contract? Is it A, verbal agreement between parties, B, approval from the Oregon Real Estate Agency, C, a third-party witness, or D, written agreement detailing terms? The answer is D, written agreement detailing terms. A valid property sale contract in Oregon must include mutual consent, a lawful object, consideration, and competent parties, as well as a written agreement detailing the terms of the sale. Which of the following actions requires a real estate license in Oregon? Is it A, Listing a property for sale on behalf of another. B. Selling personal property. C. Providing real estate investment advice. Or D. Managing a personal rental property. The answer is A. Listing a property for sale on behalf of another. In Oregon, anyone who lists, sells, or buys real estate on behalf of another for compensation must have a real estate license, as per state regulations. What is the role of the Oregon Real Estate Board according to the state's real estate statutes? Is it A. To enforce real estate laws? B. To conduct property appraisals? C. To advise on policy and rule development? Or D. To set commission rates? The answer is C. To advise on policy and rule development. The Oregon Real Estate Board advises the Real Estate Commissioner on policy matters and helps develop rules and educational requirements for real estate professionals. In Oregon, which of the following is considered an unlawful practice related to real estate? Is it A. Offering a property at market value? B. Commingling client funds with personal funds? C. Advertising a property with permission? Or D. Negotiating a sales contract? The answer is B. Commingling client funds with personal funds. Commingling of client funds with personal or business funds is unlawful in Oregon. Real estate professionals must keep client funds in separate trust accounts to prevent misuse. Oregon property ownership and land use. Types of property ownership, e.g., fee simple, leasehold, joint tenancy. What type of property ownership allows multiple owners to have equal shares with the right of survivorship in Oregon? Is it A. Fee simple, B. Leasehold, C. Joint tenancy, or D. Tenancy in common? The answer is C. Joint tenancy. Joint tenancy in Oregon provides equal shares to all owners and includes the right of survivorship, meaning if one owner dies, their share automatically passes to the surviving owners. Which type of property ownership is characterized by the ownership of real property without any conditions or limitations? Is it A. Fee simple, B. Leasehold, C. Joint tenancy, or D. Life estate? The answer is A. Fee simple. Fee simple is the most complete form of property ownership and is free from any limitations or conditions, granting the owner full rights to use, sell, or lease the property. In Oregon, what is the main difference between tenancy in common and joint tenancy? Is it A. Tenancy in common requires equal shares? B. Joint tenancy allows unequal shares? C. Tenancy in common includes survivorship rights? Or D. Joint tenancy includes the right of survivorship? The answer is D. Joint tenancy includes the right of survivorship. The main difference is the right of survivorship. In joint tenancy, the deceased's share passes to surviving owners, whereas tenancy in common allows shares to be bequeathed to heirs. Which type of property ownership involves a tenant's right to use property for a specific period under a lease agreement? Is it A. Fee simple, B. Leasehold, C. Joint tenancy, or D. Life estate? The answer is B. Leasehold. Leasehold ownership grants a tenant the right to use and occupy real property for a defined term as specified in a lease agreement without transferring ownership. Which ownership type allows an individual to own property for the duration of their life, after which it reverts to another party? Is it A. Fee simple, B. Leasehold, C. Life estate, or D. Joint tenancy? The answer is C. Life estate. A life estate grants ownership rights for the duration of a person's life. Upon their death, the property reverts to the remainderman or original owner. In Oregon, what type of property ownership allows one owner to sell their interest without the consent of other owners? Is it A. Joint tenancy, B. Fee simple, C. Tenancy in common, or D. Leasehold? The answer is C, tenancy in common. Tenancy in common allows each owner to sell or transfer their interest independently. This type of ownership does not include the right of survivorship, unlike joint tenancy.
Stuck on a question? Just think of the Birdsy link in the description as your friendly neighborhood superhero, swooping in to save the day with answers. Feel free to explore it now and return to continue. Simply hit pause, and we'll be waiting when you get back.
Public versus private land use controls. Which of the following is a primary purpose of Oregon's land use planning system? Is it A, to protect natural resources and manage urban growth? B, to increase private land ownership? C, to eliminate public access to private lands? Or D, to promote industrial development in rural areas? The answer is A, to protect natural resources and manage urban growth. Oregon's land use planning system aims to protect natural resources, manage urban growth, and ensure efficient land use. It balances development with environmental conservation, ensuring sustainable growth. What is the role of zoning in Oregon's land use controls? Is it A, to increase property taxes? B, to regulate land use and ensure compatibility? C, to provide public transportation routes? Or D, to encourage urban sprawl? The answer is B, to regulate land use and ensure compatibility. Zoning in Oregon regulates land use by designating specific areas for residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural uses, ensuring organized development and land use compatibility. How does Oregon's land use planning system address urban growth boundaries? Is it A, by expanding cities into rural areas? B, by allowing unrestricted development? C, by containing development within designated areas? Or D, by eliminating zoning regulations? The answer is C, by containing development within designated areas. Urban growth boundaries in Oregon are established to contain urban development within designated areas, protecting rural lands and preventing urban sprawl. What is a key difference between public and private land use controls in Oregon? Is it A, public controls are government-imposed, private controls are owner-imposed? B, private controls are more enforceable than public controls? C, public controls focus on aesthetics, private controls on safety? Or D, private controls require government approval? The answer is A, public controls are government-imposed, private controls are owner-imposed. Public land use controls are government-imposed regulations like zoning, while private controls are agreements like covenants or restrictions imposed by property owners or developers. Which of the following best describes the concept of smart growth in Oregon's land use policy? Is it A, encouraging rapid urban expansion? B, promoting exclusive residential zones? C, limiting public transportation options? Or D, focusing on sustainable and efficient development? The answer is D, focusing on sustainable and efficient development. Smart growth in Oregon emphasizes sustainable development, efficient land use, and transportation planning to reduce environmental impact and enhance community livability. Land use and zoning laws. What is the primary purpose of Oregon's urban growth boundary? Is it A, to increase property taxes within city limits? B, to limit urban sprawl and preserve rural areas? C, to allocate funds for public transportation? Or D, to enhance real estate development opportunities? The answer is B, to limit urban sprawl and preserve rural areas. The urban growth boundary in Oregon is designed to control urban sprawl by defining where urban development can occur, thereby preserving rural land and promoting efficient land use. Which Oregon state agency is primarily responsible for overseeing land use planning? Is it A, Department of Land Conservation and Development? B, Oregon Housing and Community Services? C. Oregon Environmental Quality Commission, or D. Oregon Department of Transportation? The answer is A. Department of Land Conservation and Development. The Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development is the primary agency responsible for implementing statewide land use goals and ensuring local plans align with them. What is a key feature of Oregon's Measure 49 regarding land use? Is it A. It allows unrestricted development on all rural lands? B. It eliminates all zoning laws in urban areas? C. It limits development on farmland and forest land? Or D. It increases property tax rates statewide? The answer is C. It limits development on farmland and forest land. Measure 49, passed in 2007, scaled back the development rights granted by Measure 37, protecting farmland and forest land by limiting large-scale development on rural properties. How does Oregon's land use planning system address the issue of affordable housing? Is it A. By mandating luxury housing developments? B. By limiting housing construction to rural areas? C. By prohibiting new housing in urban areas? Or D. By requiring affordable housing provisions in local plans? The answer is D. By requiring affordable housing provisions in local plans. Oregon's land use planning system requires local governments to include provisions for affordable housing in their comprehensive plans, ensuring that housing needs are met across various income levels. Condominiums and HOAs. Which of the following is a primary responsibility of a homeowners association in an Oregon condominium? Is it A. Managing individual unit interiors? B. Maintaining common areas and amenities? C. Setting property tax rates? Or D. Enforcing federal housing laws? The answer is B. Maintaining common areas and amenities. In Oregon, HOAs are responsible for maintaining common areas, ensuring compliance with regulations, and managing financial aspects related to these areas. This includes landscaping, shared facilities, and exterior maintenance. What is a key feature that distinguishes a condominium from other types of property ownership in Oregon? Is it A. Shared ownership of common areas? B. Exclusive ownership of land? C. No maintenance responsibilities? Or D. Individual water and sewer systems? The answer is A. Shared ownership of common areas. A condominium involves owning an individual unit while sharing ownership of common areas. This shared ownership differentiates it from single-family homes or other property types. In Oregon, what is the role of a condominium declaration? Is it A. Designates zoning classifications? B. Establishes property tax rates? C. Provides individual unit floor plans? Or D. Outlines ownership rights and responsibilities? The answer is D. Outlines ownership rights and responsibilities. The Condominium Declaration is a legal document that outlines the rights and responsibilities of the unit owners and the HOA. It includes details about common areas, restrictions, and governance. How does an HOA in Oregon typically enforce its rules and regulations? Is it A. By adjusting property taxes? B. By changing zoning laws? C. By imposing fines or restrictions? Or D. By altering property deeds? The answer is C. By imposing fines or restrictions. An HOA enforces rules through fines, legal action, or restricting access to amenities. These measures ensure compliance with the community's guidelines and maintain property values. Environmental issues and land conservation. What is the primary purpose of Oregon's Land Conservation and Development Commission? Is it A. To manage federal land resources in Oregon? B. To oversee statewide land use planning and conservation? C. To allocate state funding for urban development projects? Or D. To enforce local zoning laws in Oregon municipalities? The answer is B. To oversee statewide land use planning and conservation. The LCDC is responsible for guiding land use planning and conservation efforts in Oregon, ensuring sustainable development and protection of natural resources. It oversees the enforcement of statewide planning goals. Which of the following is a key component of Oregon's statewide planning goals related to environmental conservation? Is it A, promoting industrial development in rural areas, B, increasing urban sprawl to accommodate population growth, C, protecting natural resources and conserving open spaces, or D, expanding agricultural land use without restrictions? The answer is C, protecting natural resources and conserving open spaces. Oregon's planning goals include the protection of natural resources such as wetlands, watersheds, and wildlife habitats, aiming to maintain ecological balance and sustainability. What role do urban growth boundaries play in Oregon's land use planning? Is it A, they limit urban expansion to protect rural lands, B, they encourage the development of high-density housing in all areas, C, they are used to allocate state funds for infrastructure projects, or D, they are established by federal law to ensure equal land distribution? The answer is A, they limit urban expansion to protect rural lands. UGBs are designed to control urban expansion, directing growth within set boundaries to preserve rural lands and prevent urban sprawl, thus supporting sustainable development. How does Oregon's Measure 49 impact property rights and land use? Is it A, it allows unrestricted development on private lands, B, it restricts compensation claims for land use regulations, C, it mandates the state to purchase land from private owners, or D, it abolishes all previous land use regulations? The answer is B, it restricts compensation claims for land use regulations. Measure 49, passed in 2007, limits property owners' ability to claim compensation for land use regulations, balancing development rights with the need for environmental protection and land use planning.
Don't forget to comment below with your tips, challenges, and thoughts on exam preparation. Your experiences can make a big difference for others.
Oregon Agency Law and Ethics. Agency Relationship Laws. What is the primary duty of an agent under Oregon agency law when representing a client in a real estate transaction? Is it A, to ensure the transaction closes quickly, B, to act with loyalty to the client, C, to obtain the highest commission possible, or D, to maintain neutrality between buyer and seller? The answer is B, to act with loyalty to the client. In Oregon, an agent's primary duty is to act with loyalty to their client, prioritizing the client's interests above all others. This includes maintaining confidentiality and providing full disclosure. Under Oregon agency law, what must an agent disclose to a potential buyer regarding a property? Is it A, any known material defects, B, the seller's motivation for selling, C, the neighborhood's crime rate, or D, the previous sale price of the property? The answer is A, any known material defects. Agents in Oregon are required to disclose any known material defects of a property to potential buyers. This ensures transparency and protects the buyer's interests. Which of the following actions is a breach of fiduciary duty by a real estate agent in Oregon? Is it A, advising the client on market conditions, B, negotiating a better deal for the client, C, disclosing confidential client information, or D, showing the property to multiple buyers? The answer is C, disclosing confidential client information. An agent must not disclose confidential information about their client. Breaching confidentiality is a violation of fiduciary duty and can lead to legal consequences. In Oregon, which of the following is an example of an implied agency relationship? Is it A, a written listing agreement signed by both parties, B, a verbal agreement to represent a client. C. Referring a client to another agent. Or D. Providing advice and acting on behalf of a client without a formal agreement. The answer is D. Providing advice and acting on behalf of a client without a formal agreement. An implied agency arises when the agent's actions suggest an agency relationship, even without a formal agreement. This can occur through conduct or statements made by the agent. Fiduciary duties and client representation. What is the primary duty of an agent under Oregon agency law when representing a client? Is it A, B, disclosure, C, accountability, or D, confidentiality? The answer is A, loyalty. The primary duty of an agent is loyalty, meaning they must act in the best interest of their client above all else. This includes avoiding conflicts of interest and maintaining confidentiality. Under Oregon agency law, how should an agent handle a situation where they have a conflict of interest? Is it A, ignore the conflict and proceed? B, disclose the conflict and seek consent? C, transfer the client to another agent? Or D, terminate the agency agreement? The answer is B, disclose the conflict and seek consent. Agents must disclose any conflicts of interest to their client and obtain informed consent before proceeding. This transparency is crucial to maintaining trust and integrity in the client-agent relationship. What fiduciary duty requires an agent to keep a client informed of all relevant information? Is it A, loyalty, B, confidentiality, C, disclosure, or D, care? The answer is C, disclosure. The duty of disclosure mandates that agents provide clients with all material facts and information that could affect their decisions, ensuring informed consent and decision-making. Which fiduciary duty is breached if an agent uses a client's confidential information for personal gain? Is it A, disclosure, B, loyalty, C, care, or D, confidentiality? The answer is D, confidentiality. Confidentiality is breached when an agent uses a client's information for personal benefit. This duty requires agents to protect client information and only use it for the client's benefit. Oregon Ethics Guidelines and Enforcement. Under Oregon agency law, what is the primary duty of a real estate agent when representing a client? Is it A, act in the best interest of the client? B, maximize their own commission? C, ensure the transaction closes quickly? Or D, maintain confidentiality only until the transaction closes? The answer is A, act in the best interest of the client. The primary duty of a real estate agent in Oregon is to act in the best interest of their client, ensuring loyalty, confidentiality, and full disclosure throughout the transaction process. What is a key component of the Oregon Ethics Guidelines regarding conflict of interest? Is it A, agents must avoid all conflicts of interest? B, agents can ignore minor conflicts of interest? C, agents must disclose conflicts of interest to all parties? Or D, agents should resolve conflicts of interest internally? The answer is C, agents must disclose conflicts of interest to all parties. Oregon ethics guidelines require agents to fully disclose any potential conflicts of interest to all parties involved to maintain transparency and trust in real estate transactions. How does the Oregon Real Estate Agency enforce ethical guidelines among licensed agents? Is it A, by providing voluntary training sessions? B, through annual performance reviews? C, by issuing financial incentives for ethical behavior? Or D, through audits, investigations, and disciplinary actions? The answer is D, through audits, investigations, and disciplinary actions. The Oregon Real Estate Agency enforces ethical guidelines through audits, investigations, and disciplinary actions to ensure compliance and uphold the integrity of the profession. What is the consequence for an Oregon real estate agent who violates the state's ethics guidelines? Is it A, a mandatory ethics training course? B, fines, suspension, or revocation of license? C, a public apology to affected clients? Or D, no consequence if the violation was unintentional? The answer is B, fines, suspension, or revocation of license. Violations of Oregon's ethics guidelines can result in penalties such as fines, suspension, or revocation of the agent's license, depending on the severity of the infraction.
Don't forget to comment below with your tips, challenges, and thoughts on exam preparation. Your experiences can make a big difference for others.
Oregon property valuation. Basic principles of property valuation. What is the principle of substitution in property valuation? Is it A, the idea that the property's value is based on its original purchase price? B, the concept that a property's value is fixed and does not change over time? C, the notion that a property's value is set by the cost of acquiring a similar property? Or D, the principle that a property's value is determined by its historical significance? The answer is C, the notion that a property's value is set by the cost of acquiring a similar property. The principle of substitution states that a property's value is determined by the cost of acquiring an equally desirable substitute property. It is fundamental in comparing similar properties. In Oregon property valuation, what does the principle of contribution refer to? Is it A, the value a component adds to the overall property? B, the total cost of constructing a property? C, the depreciation rate of a property over time? Or D, the market demand for similar properties in the area? The answer is A, the value a component adds to the overall property. The principle of contribution states that the value of a property component is determined by how much it adds to the overall property value, not its individual cost. How does the principle of anticipation affect property valuation in Oregon? Is it A, by considering only the current market trends? B, by evaluating expected future benefits like income or appreciation? C, by assessing the historical price changes of the property? Or D, by analyzing the construction quality of the property? The answer is B, by evaluating expected future benefits like income or appreciation. The principle of anticipation suggests that property value is based on the expected future benefits. Buyers consider potential income or appreciation when determining value. What does the principle of progression imply in property valuation? Is it A, the idea that property value decreases over time? B, the concept that property improvements always increase value? C, the notion that a property's value is determined by its original cost? Or D, the value of a lesser property is enhanced by proximity to higher value properties? The answer is D. The value of a lesser property is enhanced by proximity to higher value properties. The principle of progression suggests that the value of a lesser property is enhanced by its proximity to higher value properties, affecting its market appeal and price. Sales comparison, cost, and income approaches. Which of the following is a primary factor in the sales comparison approach to property valuation? Is it A, depreciation? B, comparable sales? C, replacement cost? Or D, net operating income? The answer is B, comparable sales. The sales comparison approach relies heavily on the analysis of recent sales of comparable properties to estimate the value of the subject property. Adjustments are made for differences. In the cost approach to property valuation, what is subtracted from the replacement cost to determine the property's value? Is it A, depreciation? B, comparable sales? C, gross income? Or D, capitalization rate? The answer is A, depreciation. In the cost approach, depreciation is subtracted from the replacement cost to account for the loss of value due to age, wear, and functional obsolescence. What is the primary use of the income approach in property valuation? Is it A, estimating replacement cost, B, comparing recent sales, C, valuing income-producing properties, or D, assessing physical depreciation? The answer is C, valuing income-producing properties. The income approach is primarily used for valuing income-producing properties by converting expected future income into a present value using a capitalization rate. Which method involves adjusting the sale prices of comparable properties to reflect differences from the subject property? Is it A, cost approach, B, income approach, C, depreciation method, or D, sales comparison approach? The answer is D, sales comparison approach. The sales comparison approach involves adjusting the sale prices of comparable properties to account for differences, ensuring a more accurate valuation of the subject property. Oregon financing. Mortgage loans and financing options. Which type of mortgage in Oregon allows the borrower to pay only interest for a set period before principal payments begin? Is it A, fixed-rate mortgage, B, interest-only mortgage, C, adjustable-rate mortgage, or D, balloon mortgage? The answer is B, interest-only mortgage. An interest-only loan allows borrowers to pay only the interest for a specified period, typically 5 to 10 years, after which they must start paying down the principal. This can lead to lower initial payments. What is the primary benefit of a VA loan for eligible veterans in Oregon? Is it A, no down payment requirement, B, higher interest rates, C, mandatory private mortgage insurance, or D, shorter loan terms? The answer is A, no down payment requirement. VA loans offer the benefit of no down payment for eligible veterans, which can significantly reduce the upfront costs of purchasing a home. They also often have competitive interest rates. Which Oregon mortgage option is specifically designed for low-income borrowers to facilitate homeownership? Is it A, jumbo loan, B, Federal Housing Administration, FHA loan, C, U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA loan, or D, conventional loan? The answer is C, U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA loan. The USDA loan is designed for low-income borrowers in rural areas, offering benefits like no down payment and reduced mortgage insurance, making homeownership more accessible. What is a distinguishing feature of an FHA loan that benefits first-time homebuyers in Oregon? Is it A, no credit check required, B, lower down payment requirement, C, no closing costs, or D, no mortgage insurance? The answer is B, lower down payment requirement. FHA loans are popular among first-time homebuyers due to their lower down payment requirements, typically as low as 3.5%, making it easier for those with limited savings to purchase a home. Loan applications and approval processes. What is the primary purpose of a loan estimate form in Oregon's loan application process? Is it A, to finalize the loan agreement, B, to provide detailed information about the loan, C, to verify the borrower's income, or D, to determine the property's value? The answer is B, to provide detailed information about the loan. The loan estimate form provides borrowers with detailed information about the key features, costs, and risks of the mortgage loan they are applying for, ensuring transparency and understanding. Which of the following is a key factor lenders consider during the loan approval process in Oregon? Is it A, the borrower's age, B, the type of property, C, the borrower's credit score, or D, the loan officer's commission? The answer is C, the borrower's credit score. Lenders assess the borrower's credit score to evaluate their creditworthiness and ability to repay the loan. A higher credit score generally indicates lower risk. In Oregon, what document must borrowers receive within 3 business days of submitting a loan application? Is it A, loan estimate, B, closing disclosure, C, appraisal report, or D, credit report? The answer is A, loan estimate. The loan estimate must be provided within 3 business days of receiving a loan application to ensure borrowers are informed about costs and terms early in the process. What is the significance of the debt-to-income ratio in Oregon's loan approval process? Is it A, it determines the interest rate, B, it verifies the borrower's employment status, C, it assesses the property's value, or D, it evaluates the borrower's repayment capacity? The answer is D. It evaluates the borrower's repayment capacity. The DTI ratio helps lenders assess a borrower's ability to manage monthly payments and repay debts, influencing loan approval and terms. A lower DTI indicates better financial health. Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, to simplify the mortgage application process, B, to ensure borrowers are informed about mortgage terms and costs, C, to reduce the number of mortgage applications, or D, to increase lender profits? The answer is B, to ensure borrowers are informed about mortgage terms and costs. The Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements aim to ensure borrowers are fully informed about the terms and costs of their mortgage, promoting transparency and preventing predatory lending practices. Which document is a lender required to provide under the Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, loan estimate, B, credit report, C, appraisal report, or D, title insurance policy? The answer is A, loan estimate. The loan estimate is a key document under the Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements, providing borrowers with important information about the loan's terms and costs. When must the closing disclosure be provided to the borrower according to Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, 1 day before closing, B, on the day of closing, C, 5 business days before closing, or D, 3 business days before closing? The answer is D, 3 business days before closing. The closing disclosure must be provided at least 3 business days before closing, allowing borrowers time to review the final loan terms and costs. Under Oregon mortgage disclosure requirements, what must be disclosed about adjustable rate mortgages? Is it A, only the initial interest rate, B, the maximum interest rate cap, C, initial rate, adjustment periods, and rate change terms, or D, only the adjustment periods? The answer is C, initial rate, adjustment periods, and rate change terms. For ARMs, lenders must disclose the initial interest rate, the period it applies, and how it can change, ensuring borrowers understand potential payment fluctuations. Oregon-specific loan programs. Which Oregon-specific loan program is designed to assist first-time homebuyers with down payment and closing costs? Is it A, Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program, B, Oregon Veterans Home Loan Program, C, Oregon Rural Development Loan, or D, Oregon Housing Stability Council Loan? The answer is A, Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program. The Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program offers down payment and closing cost assistance to first-time homebuyers, making homeownership more accessible by reducing initial financial barriers. What is a primary benefit of the Oregon Veterans Home Loan Program? Is it A, no down payment required, B, lower interest rates, C, assistance with moving costs, or D, tax benefit? The answer is B, lower interest rates. The Oregon Veterans Home Loan Program offers eligible veterans a lower interest rate, helping them afford home ownership by reducing monthly mortgage payments. Which program is designed to support rural development in Oregon? Is it A, Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program, B, Oregon Veterans Home Loan Program, C, Oregon Rural Development Loan, or D, Oregon Housing Stability Council Loan? The answer is C, Oregon Rural Development Loan. The Oregon Rural Development Loan aims to support the development and purchase of rural properties, enhancing access to affordable housing in less urbanized areas. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon Housing Stability Council? Is it A, provide direct loans to homebuyers, B, build new housing developments, C, offer tax incentives for home purchases, or D, oversee housing policy and funding? The answer is D, oversee housing policy and funding. The Oregon Housing Stability Council oversees housing policy and funding decisions, ensuring that state resources are effectively used to address housing needs and promote stability. Oregon Housing and Community Services. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon Housing and Community Services Department? Is it A, to provide affordable housing and financial support for low-income residents, B, to manage Oregon's natural resources, C, to regulate Oregon's financial institutions, or D, to oversee Oregon's transportation infrastructure? The answer is A, to provide affordable housing and financial support for low-income residents. The OHCS department is primarily responsible for providing financial and program support to create and preserve affordable housing for low and moderate income individuals in Oregon. Which program under OHCS aims to help first-time homebuyers in Oregon? Is it A, Oregon Rental Assistance Program, B, Oregon Landlord Compensation Fund, C, Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program, or D, Oregon Housing Preservation Program? The answer is C, Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program. OHCS offers the Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program, which provides affordable mortgage options specifically designed to assist first-time homebuyers in purchasing their first home. How does the OHCS support the development of affordable housing in Oregon? Is it A, by providing free land to developers, B, through funding and tax credits, C, by managing construction projects directly, or D, by offering free construction materials? The answer is B, through funding and tax credits. OHCS supports affordable housing development through funding and tax credits, which incentivize developers to build and maintain affordable housing units in Oregon. What is the role of the Oregon Housing Stability Council within OHCS? Is it A, to approve individual housing loans, B, to manage day-to-day operations of OHCS, C, to represent tenants in legal disputes, or D, to advise and set policies for OHCS? The answer is D, to advise and set policies for OHCS. The Oregon Housing Stability Council advises and sets policy for the OHCS, focusing on strategic planning and prioritizing resources for housing stability initiatives across the state. Oregon Disclosure Requirements and Forms. Oregon-specific disclosure requirements. Which of the following is required by Oregon law to be disclosed to potential property buyers? Is it A, the seller's personal financial status, B, material defects in the property, C, future property tax increases, or D, the previous owner's reason for selling? The answer is B, material defects in the property. Oregon law mandates the disclosure of known material facts about the property, ensuring buyers are aware of significant issues that may affect their purchase decision. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon Property Disclosure Statement? Is it A, to inform buyers of the property's condition, B, to guarantee the property's value. C. To set the property's market price. Or D. To verify the seller's identity. The answer is A. To inform buyers of the property's condition. The Oregon Property Disclosure Statement aims to inform buyers of the property's condition, helping them make informed decisions and potentially avoiding future disputes. When must the Oregon Property Disclosure Statement be provided to a buyer? Is it A. After closing the sale, B. During the home inspection, C. Before the buyer makes an offer, or D. After the buyer's initial deposit? The answer is C. Before the buyer makes an offer. The statement must be provided before the buyer makes an offer, allowing them to assess the property's condition and decide whether to proceed. Which of the following is not a required disclosure in Oregon real estate transactions? Is it A. Known lead-based paint hazards, B. Presence of asbestos, C. Septic system malfunctions, or D. Neighborhood crime rates? The answer is D. Neighborhood crime rates. Oregon does not require disclosure of neighborhood crime rates, as this information is typically available from other public sources.
Notice the code in the corner? When you're stumped by a question, enter it at birdsy.ai for immediate help. Enjoy complimentary study sessions and access to hundreds of additional questions to help you pass your exam with confidence.
Commonly used Oregon forms. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon Seller's Property Disclosure Statement? Is it A. To inform potential buyers about the condition of the property, B. To determine the market value of the property, C. To provide legal advice to the buyer, or D. To verify the buyer's financial status? The answer is A. To inform potential buyers about the condition of the property. The Oregon Seller's Property Disclosure Statement is designed to inform potential buyers about the condition of the property, helping them make an informed decision. It is a mandatory form for most residential property sales. Which form is commonly used in Oregon to disclose lead-based paint hazards? Is it A. Oregon Property Condition Disclosure Form, B. Lead-based paint disclosure form, C. Environmental hazard disclosure form, or D. Residential property disclosure form? The answer is B. Lead-based paint disclosure form. The lead-based paint disclosure form is required for residential properties built before 1978. It informs buyers and tenants about potential lead paint hazards, ensuring compliance with federal law. What is the significance of the Oregon Initial Agency Disclosure Pamphlet? Is it A. It provides a checklist for property inspections, B. It lists the fees associated with a real estate transaction, C. It explains the roles and responsibilities of real estate agents, or D. It is used to finalize the sale of a property? The answer is C. It explains the roles and responsibilities of real estate agents. The Oregon Initial Agency Disclosure Pamphlet outlines the roles and responsibilities of real estate agents, ensuring that all parties understand their relationship and obligations in a transaction. When must the Oregon Seller's Property Disclosure Statement be provided to the buyer? Is it A. After the closing of the sale, B. During the home inspection, C. When the buyer moves in, or D. Before the offer is accepted? The answer is D. Before the offer is accepted. The seller's property disclosure statement must be provided to the buyer before the offer is accepted. This allows the buyer to review the property's condition before committing to the purchase. Specific procedures for transactions. What is the primary purpose of the Oregon Disclosure Pamphlet in real estate transactions? Is it A. To provide a list of all available properties, B. To inform consumers about rights and responsibilities in transactions, C. To outline the commission rates for brokers, or D. to detail the history of the property? The answer is B, to inform consumers about rights and responsibilities in transactions. The Oregon Disclosure Pamphlet is designed to inform consumers about the rights and responsibilities of all parties in a real estate transaction, ensuring transparency and informed decision-making. Which document must be provided to a buyer prior to signing a purchase agreement in Oregon? Is it A, seller's property disclosure statement, B, home inspection report, C, title insurance policy, or D, mortgage approval letter? The answer is A, seller's property disclosure statement. The seller's property disclosure statement must be provided to the buyer before signing a purchase agreement, detailing any known issues with the property. When must the lead-based paint disclosure be provided in an Oregon real estate transaction? Is it A, after the purchase agreement is signed, B, during the home inspection, C, before the buyer is obligated under a purchase contract, or D, at the closing of the transaction? The answer is C, before the buyer is obligated under a purchase contract. In Oregon, the lead-based paint disclosure must be provided before a buyer is obligated under a purchase contract for homes built before 1978, ensuring awareness of potential lead hazards. What is the consequence if a seller fails to provide the required property disclosure in Oregon? Is it A, the transaction is automatically void, B, the buyer can sue the seller for damages, C, the seller must reduce the property price, or D, the buyer can terminate the transaction within 5 days? The answer is D, the buyer can terminate the transaction within 5 days. If a seller fails to provide the required property disclosure, the buyer can terminate the transaction within 5 business days after receiving the disclosure, protecting them from incomplete information.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, tips, and tricks. And don't forget to visit Birdsy.ai for complimentary study sessions with Birdsy, your AI-powered study partner.